Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Horlicks and this is now issue 90 of Build the Back to the Future DeLorean. Okay, so there's a little bit more to do than last week in this one. We're going to be finishing off the engine cover. We're going to be putting a hinge on, put the hinges on to the actual shell of the car. We're also going to put a latch on, okay, and then we're going to move on and we're going to be working on the what we're working on, some pipes for the engine cover, which will be coming up in issue 91 next week. So without further ado, let's crack on. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of fiddly parts in this one, so I'll show them off the best I can with the equipment I've got. But until we get down and get started, I'm not sure how it's going to go. So let's just crack on. So here we go. This is issue 90. Let's get on and get these parts open, and then we'll talk through the parts. Now, as I said earlier, there is some very small parts in this issue, so be careful when unpacking all of this. So a lot of them come in this separate bag because of the size of them, so just be careful. We've also got such a small little spring there as well. So I hope that doesn't go flying across the room. That would be a nightmare. Okay, so we've got some stay parts, which is this 90B here, which is this metal part. We've also got 90C, which looks like some sort of grip. And then we've also got this part here, which I think is the latch, or I'm not sure. It doesn't actually tell you in the magazine what this part is called. Okay, and that's two. I wonder if that's going to help, which is there. We've also got the spring catch parts. So we've got this very tiny piece of plastic here. Okay, I'll turn this light off in a minute when we check the parts off. We've got the spring, which as you can see is absolutely tiny. And we've got this cover here. Okay, and then we've also got a selection of pipes. So we've got 90G, which is this part here, and I'll turn that off now. We've also got another pipe here, which is this silver piece. These are all plastic, these parts, and then we've got another sort of U piece there, which is some more pipe work. Okay, so I'm just going to get the screwdriver. We've got some small screws in this. We've got some more QM screws, and we've got some AP screws in this issue also. So without further ado, let's crack on with this. So we want to take, first of all, this plastic piece here, and you can see you've got a long post, and then this side, you've got a really short post. And now what it wants us to do is carefully get the spring and place it on the shorter post, like so. And that did actually snap on for me. It clicked. So I don't know whether that's just where there's a bit of plastic from the molds that's gripping that, or whether they all do that, but that is good. So the spring is now in place on that little catch there. So now what we need to do is bring back the engine cover that we did in issue 89. And we're going to be working on the front here. So we're going to turn this over and we're going to work on this part here. So what it wants us to do is place the long part down the hole, and also get that spring in like so. So hopefully you'll be able to see that like that, and then you've got this the shaft that sticks out the bottom there. So really carefully with that in place, we're going to then take this black piece of plastic here and we're going to place that over that assembly. Now you'll notice that one side has got like a mould mark on it in the middle there, like a ring, so I'm going to do that facing downwards, but realistically I don't think there's no direction to this. And that has just popped out because I put the part down. So yeah, really you need about 3 hands for this, because obviously my mistake is where I've just popped this down on the deck, it pushed that up and out. So we're just going to pop that cover over there. Now excuse the blur for a moment, I'm just going to put that there and get my screw ready, which I should have done. Right, and then we're just going to carefully screw that in. So I'm just going to get one in, and obviously be careful because the spring wants to keep popping out. So I've got one in, just a couple of turns, and then I'm going to get the other one in just so I can get that secured into place so I don't lose any of those small parts. And they do screw in quite a long way. There we go. And then once that's in place, this actually moves. So I can imagine when to lift this up, you would pull this back. There you go, and it would bring that catch back. And I'm guessing that is how that's going to work. It doesn't go back all the way, but it certainly goes back a little bit, and I think that's the idea. Okay, so that is that fiddly part done. So with that complete, we're going to be then working on these 3 parts here. So first you want this part here, and again I'll zoom in so you can see, and you want that it looks like a locating pin and it's facing upwards, and I've actually got a little bit of plastic stuck on that, so I'm just going to take that off because you don't need that on there. It's just from the molds. I knew that was from the mold, so yeah, there we go. So you've got that little locating pin on the top, and then with that facing up, you want to take this metal bracket, and that has got an angle in it. So the angle is going to face down away from the locating pin. That's the best way I can describe it. Okay, and what it wants us to do is, let me get this right. turn this round this way, because you've got this screw hole here. We're going to pop that in from the side and then spin that round, so that's going to be like that. So as you look at it, this is what you should have: the locating pin at the top, then this caught in there like so, and then you've got the angle pointing downwards. So if I look at it from the way I'm looking at it, there you go. And that's how that should look. Now this is the extremely fiddly bit. We want to take this piece now, with the still with the locating pin facing upwards. We're going to turn this this part here, and we're going to set those into there like so. Now that's not going to stay in, but this is where we might need about 3 or 4 hands. But yeah, that's where that part sits, or will sit. So I'm just going to leave that on the side for the moment, somewhere safe. I'm just going to put it up there, adjust the focus again, and I'm going to get the AP screws out because we haven't used these yet, and I've got a feeling we're going to be using those on the next part. Okay, so I want to get them ready. And then we need to bring the shell over. So I'm just going to pop the I've got a microfiber cloth here just to protect the body. So this is going to be quite difficult to show you, I think, but I'll balance that there. Because this is like a black, let me turn the light on. Ah, there you go. Right, so here, oh, sorry, just here, you've got 2 holes. Now this piece that the bracket was sitting in, you need to put the metal in and then secure that onto the frame with this dangling in a downwards direction. So it's going to be down like that, off of here. So as I say, it's so difficult to show you. And then yeah, we're going to fix that in with AP screws. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit it, and then I'll try and get you a good look. Okay, so that's one screw in. That's actually gone on surprisingly easy, considering I thought this was going to be a bit of a nightmare. So my problem now is the screwdriver doesn't want to fit, so I'm just going to have to grab a short screwdriver. I think I've got the perfect one I could use. With the R2D2 this month, we've got this short stubby one. So let's have a look and see if that fits the screw. Yes, it does. So that is perfect. Okay, so that's the bottom one in, and then I'm just going to tighten this top one up. That's perfect. That's gone in lovely. Okay, and you can see that that's how that should sit. Okay. Woo. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this round. We're now going to, after that part is done, we're going to then affix the engine cover to the top here. So that is just going to slot in nicely. Like so. And then using QM screws, we're going to put the 4 screws into the top. And already, I mean, I expect there'll be more to come, but I'm struggling to open that with that catch. It does open, but you have to put some pressure underneath, then flick it and push from underneath to get that open. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to get around that at a later stage, but I think there'll be the screw holes in this panel, so I think there'll be something that we can grip onto to open that. So I'm just going to screw these QM screws into the hinge. So that's one. I'm going to do the other side. Sorry, I know I am obstructing the camera view. So we've got one in there, and we've got one in this side at the moment. I'm just going to get the last 2 in. And I'm just going to check that's, yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we can open that, and there we go, we've got that on hinges. So as I say, I'm sure there'll be something to, and it holds it in, because if you try and push that up, that latch is locking it into place, so that's a really nice fit. And then we just slide that back, and then that'll release that door. Okay, so as I say, at the moment, just that alone, I can't, there's no way of opening that. But we'll see what comes in future issues. So with that part done, we then need to turn the shell upside down. Just get these QMs out of the way. Okay, And inside here you've got a screw hole. Let me bring this up to the camera. We've got that screw hole on the back of the door, so we're just going to turn this round and fit that onto that screw hole, this plastic piece. So you just line that up, and then we're going to pop what we're going to put through there. Let me just double check. A QM screw. So we're going to need another QM screw for this. Okay. So I'm going to put that in. And this is going to be fairly tricky. So you may want to get some tweezers to aid you. But I've been alright, luckily. So there we go. Now that wants to spin when you tighten it, so just keep that into place and then give that a final tighten, and then I'm really happy with that. So there we go. That's what we should have. Okay, so if I turn this back over to the correct way, we should be able to undo that. And it's getting caught. And that was my door. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm bad at the door went. So, just looking at this, I've actually, something isn't right. So I'm going to undo that again. And I have made an error, and I don't mind admitting that. However, I don't understand how I've made an error, because I've been following the instructions very closely. And it looks like that should be round the other way. So basically the bracket that I secured to the back should have been the other way round. It didn't really make that very clear, but I should be able to actually remove this without taking that off again. I'm hoping. No. Okay, so I'm just going to remove that again. If I remove the bottom screw, that should allow me to loosen the top screw, because I don't want to take it out completely. There we go. There we go, that's allowed me to take the bracket out. So it needs to be the other way around, because when you look at this, the locating pin, there we go, the locating pin there needs to fit into the hole that's on the door. Let me turn the light back on. See, there's a hole in the door there, so that needs to fit downwards like so. So that's where I went wrong. But I did follow the instructions quite clearly. I'm just going to backtrack to see if right. Okay. I did do this right. I think there was a misprint on the instruction. See, with that dangling down, this spays outwards. Which I did. But then that doesn't line that up. So, never mind. All is good now. So I'm going to pop that back in. And then I'm going to tighten that screw back up. Just a little bit. I'm going to get the other one back in. There we go. Right, and then we'll try again. So I'm going to shut the door and then push that into the locating pin. There we go. And then using the QM screw again, I'm going to fix that into place. And I think I might have used the wrong screw back into that panel there. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of a flap with this. Right, that is that back in. Okie doke. Now, with the correct screw, the QM, I'm going to put the door back up, sit that into the locating peg and line the hole up, and then with the QM screw go back in. There we go. So then it should look like that, which it does. So now I'm going to carefully try the door again. Yeah, that seems okay, but now that only opens to this point here, which I believe must be normal. So that is just designed, that catch is just designed to keep that upwards so you can see in through the back. When you lift it up and down, it goes. When you lift it up, you can then push that clip in and then it will hold the door up. Then you lift it up and down and then it will shut. That is how that works. Okay, so now we've done that part and that is now correct. We're going to be working on these pipes here. So fairly straightforward. We're just going to piece these together. So the white ones are going to be pieced together. Hang on, let me just... So you've got a screw hole there, and then obviously you've got a screw hole there. We're going to line those up. Now that'll only go in one way. If you try and put it the other way, the pipe is going to look odd like that. So we're just going to pop them together like that. And then we're going to use an AP screw just to secure those together. A bit like what we did in an earlier issue with the pipe that runs along the interior by the seat. There we go. And that is that part done. What we're going to do then is we're going to pop this pin up the larger hole, because you've got the smaller hole there where the screw will fit, and then you've got a larger hole there. So that's just going to pop up into there like so, and it's going to go in that orientation. So where the screw is, and then you're going to have this post sticking down on this side of where the screw is. Now, I think it won't be too much of an issue, because wherever this fits later on, we could probably move this to where it needs to be. So for now, just secure that on. So again, with another AP screw, just through that hole at the top. There we go. And yeah, I can still move that if I need to. It's stiff, but I can move it. Or you could just loosen the screw off, get it in the right position, and then we can tighten it up later on. And then we have that part there. So that was it for issue 90. So I apologise for the little confusion with that engine cover. As I say, I did go by the magazine. Unless I'm overlooking something, I think that was rather confusing, because it didn't. I did it in a direction. I was very careful to look at the details, where the bend was, and obviously it turned out wrong. So whether there was a misprint somewhere, I don't know. But nevertheless, it's done now. So yeah, that is it. So please like, share, subscribe. If you wish to buy me a coffee, there is a link in the description below. And I'll see you next week for what I think is going to be a very long issue, because we're going to be marrying the shell with the chassis. We're going to finish off the wiring, connect all the wires between them, and sit the shell onto the chassis. So yeah, lots of fun. That's going to take that's going to be quite a long build. So yeah, until next week, take care, and see you later. Bye bye.